biggest challenge when it comes to AI doing things. This
Yeah,
is where AI needs to compete more. That working with ChatGPT, you will win against the general group.
that's probably a 2 or 3 week turnaround. And it was the next day in 6 hours.
And slowly, you'll be like raising a robot that will be a perfect companion.
The quality when you start doing that level of input is a lot better.
The competition for the future is going to be how well you work with this machine. Level up. Welcome to the Leads Are Shit. This is a real estate magazine podcast, and we're here like every other week, and we really appreciate you coming here as well because this is an interactive experience, and you should look on Real Estate Magazine social media for the link. I'm here with Andrew Foliato. Andrew is the owner of Real Estate Magazine and the founder of Just Sell Homes, a real estate marketing company so realtors can focus on just selling homes. And my name is Taylor Hack. I am a real estate team leader of the team Hack & Co., which is the highest rated and reviewed real estate team in the greater Edmonton area. Thanks everybody for coming. Good to see you, Andrew.
Good to see you too. And now we wait for the onslaught of AI note takers to join the call. Should be any
Bring on the
second
robot.
now.
No, we
Yeah.
got some real people here too. What's up, Craig?
Well, it's all real people right now. We also got like Heidi and Ryan. And
Oh
Ryan, I
yeah.
did see your email came in. I haven't had a chance to go, oh, here comes the there it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, but yeah, so Ryan, I will respond to you soon. Craig, this is AI Craig. I mean, it's better than the real Craig, at least then.
This is
Yeah,
AI, Craig.
uh,
We always knew
so
the intelligence was artificial. No.
yeah, anything is better than the real Craig.
Yeah, too much Craig. We
Um,
Diet Craig, all the same,
yeah,
great flavor, but half the calories.
no. So I had a topic today. So there's two things actually, both AI related, which I
Mm,
thought the first one I think you'll just find as an interesting thing to try and do. So it works for you, especially because you use ChatGPT so much too. So basically, go into it and say, act as my AI advisor and suggest 10 AI agents that will improve my life and business. And it looks up your like history. So use the O3 with the logic for it. And
okay, so you want me to just go to the general machine?
yeah,
O3 or 040?
O3.
All right. And then ask me.
So act as my AI advisor
Yep.
and suggest AI agents that will you can either go improve my life, improve my business, whatever that works, but just like based on our chat history, 10 AI agents that could make everything better. And I mean they're not all going to be, but I got a couple that like I got to look into setting up because I'm like those are pretty good. And like they're all technically very possible to do. Like some are a little I don't think like the APIs are there yet that I got. But like of the 10 that I saw the first time I did it, there's probably 5 or 6 that when I have time, I'm gonna look at setting up. That's pretty good.
The Yeah, you could go wild with this.
Yeah,
You could use this to improve your health. You could get real crazy. You could take
yeah,
this over to Grok and
yeah,
then you could set it on insane mode. Did it for my business and it's just about
yeah,
finished, like it's crunching data right now.
yeah. So it's good. So that's why I like O3. It thinks longer, puts more logic into it. You are rate limited how much you can use. Like I'm on the pro or the lower paid account.
Hmm.
And you got to jump up to like the 10x one to get more than like 30 uses of O3 a month. But
Damn.
it's like halfway between regular ChatGPT and like the deep research function.
And
So
deep
it's pretty,
research is something I've been using a bit more.
yeah,
The Yeah, it definitely is a way to get a grip on things that you see and hear is a great one.
yeah.
So
So
I think imagine if everybody out there did things like deep research based on their chat history and being profiled, maybe even about like politics. It'd be interesting to see what they would present.
yeah, I did ask it before the election out of curiosity. Based on everything you know about me, take a guess of where I lean politically and who you think I would vote for. And it nailed exactly where I'd like put myself on the spectrum. Um, which is literally like, so have you ever done the vote compass on CBC?
Yep.
So I did that every year. Sometimes it's a little bit this way, a little bit that way. I'm almost bullseye on the center, like the ultimate centrist
That's
right
because
there.
I would see you
Every
as being socially liberal and fiscally conservative.
Yeah, I mean that's the closest way to describe it. Um, but yeah, that's
Okay, so
every
I've got
time
some
right there in the
answers
middle.
here.
But yeah, so let's see what are the AI agents it thinks will improve your business.
So the first one is revenue intelligence and deal coaching agent. What it is, Gong's new agent studio allows you to spin up agents that auto summarize every call, flag risk, pricing objections still open, push the next step into your CRM, and even draft follow up email. Why you like it? It kills note taking, gives a single view of buyer sentiment, and trains junior reps by highlighting best practice snippets from your own calls. And it works with Salesforce and HubSpot and Zoom and Teams and some other stuff, but it looks like a general run. Another one is an autonomous SDR, prospect nurture agent. So this is from Salesforce, and it's
Yeah.
regarding their new Einstein SDR, which is, I imagine, a sales agent.
Yeah, it must be. There's a lot
And
of
they
those out there now.
research an inbound lead, sends a hyper personalized first email, handles the back and forth, and books the meetings.
So I've
Um,
seen some early tests from people. It's still not quite there, but like they're getting pretty good, but it's not quite there yet.
man, when we talk about not quite there, are we going to talk about Harvey?
So he sent me the recording. I haven't listened to it yet.
Well, why don't you explain what happened?
So I was on a call
Hold
with
on,
this
it's
guy.
actually
Yeah.
from my experience,
Yeah.
I get like a really rando phone call. Now say go ahead.
Yeah. So I was on this call with this guy who was because we get calls for like REM and JSH pitching us and all these things. It's someone who had built a tool that does like AI auto follow up for leads. And he was basically like pitching me on the concept. And as we got talking, like just super nice guy, been around like used to do a lot of like behavioral psychology stuff and consulting for tech companies. And now started diving into AI, building his own stuff. And as we were talking, we started actually like coming up with some ideas of like, all right, well, let's put your actual thing to the side for a second. What about these things we've talked about? Like we talked about on the show, the like call and talk to the house, where you give the house like a personality. He's going to build that for us, like a test one,
Hmm.
and we'll test it out maybe in one of your listings and see how that does. But
I am the house guinea pig.
yeah. So we were chatting and I was like, he's like, you should test it. And I was like, yeah, but like, I already know it's AI. Like the real test to me is if you could call someone and they don't know. And so I was like, here's Taylor's cell phone number. I want you to add, and I pulled up one of your listings and I was like, send like call on this listing asking for more details about it, like you're interested. And he's like, anything else fun? I was like, I know, because like you're Donna AI. I was like, he's a fan of Suits. I was like, drop in. So I said drop in some subtle Suits references during the call. I didn't say name it Harvey. I just said drop some subtle references to the show Suits here and there. I was like, I was
This
hoping
is
it'd be
where the game
like,
of telephone begins.
yeah, I was kind of hoping it would say something like you just got lit up.
So
And
Andrew
it
is
didn't.
talking to the sales guy. The sales
Yeah.
guy is talking to the machine, and then the machine starts talking to me. And by the
Yeah.
time Andrew's used subtle references of suits gets to me, it is Harvey Specter. Okay,
Did
that's
it
like
say like
who
Spectre is the
called
last
me.
name even?
You know, he said, "Hey Taylor, this is Harvey."
Yeah. But how was it overall?
Overall, it was in the uncanny valley. Do you know what that
Yeah.
is?
Oh yeah. I don't know if
So,
everyone else would.
okay,
Most,
the
I
uncanny
don't know.
valley is that humans have a reflex that makes them feel negatively about things that are almost human. So if you were to see like an AI on our Zoom, but they did things that were not quite human, like blinked one eyelid at a time, like really randomly and
Yeah.
stuff like
Or
that.
blinked this way.
Yeah. Or they lift their hand, like the AI graphic problem, and it has like seven fingers. Yeah.
I
And
don't know what
like
to do with them.
immediately seeing even things that you don't register, like micro
Yeah.
expressions or lack
Yeah.
of micro expressions, you
Yeah.
will, it will be the opposite of connection.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what the uncanny valley is, and that's the biggest challenge when it comes to AI doing things like sales calls, because a lot of those are actually based on connection.
Yeah.
And that connection, like even if you have a great product, that connection can pull people in. And that maybe is the hit and miss part of this. So Harvey's going to be so consistent that he might pick up some people that somebody who had a very specific personality wouldn't.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what they're working on. So that's how I would describe him. What I mean by that is that he sound like a radio announcer. It was like, "Hey, is this Taylor? Taylor, this is Harvey, and I was looking at your new listing at 331 Meadow." No, it
Yeah.
didn't go
Not quite
robot
there.
like that. But
Yeah.
you could tell that
Yeah.
nobody talks like that.
Yeah, it's they still got to do that a little bit. So where some the interesting use cases when him because him and I like we had a 50-minute call that went an hour and a half.
Mhm.
Um, so some of the interesting ones that I think could work actually really well is one that he set up on his phone is any call he doesn't pick up just because like he's busy or something like that. Instead of going to voicemail, forwards to the AI agent. The AI agent picks up, says it's an AI agent, and just say, "Hi, this is Harvey. Um, Andrew's busy right now. I'm picking up on his behalf. I'm an AI and I can collect kind of what you called about and send Andrew a note with details to call you back on. So, do you mind if I ask why were you calling type of thing? And then it can also capture information and then input it into your CRM and kind of do all that. But it basically acts as like an after hours or like if you're on a showing with a client, someone that provides a little bit better than like a voicemail.
Okay,
And I was like,
this is hot.
yeah, I
So
like
having
that.
Harvey call people, not
No,
better than voicemail. You can fight against voicemail with AI. Voicemail's like it's a
terrible.
low level robot,
Yeah,
right?
and I don't even check like I check my voicemail like once every 2 weeks now.
And everybody hates it. Like this
Yeah.
is where AI needs to compete more.
Yeah.
Is everybody would like better than voicemail, you know?
So
And
that's what I
text is
was
it. There's this weird stutter spot because they did call you, they wanted
yeah.
something now,
Yeah.
but could this response handle like level one tech support for people in business? Hey, I saw your new listing. Oh,
Yeah.
Taylor's going to definitely want to talk to you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to see if I can disrupt his current call.
Yeah, like
That's what we need.
you could set priority levels, right? It's like even just
Fuck
like
yeah,
think
you
of like
could.
after hours, you're kind of you don't want to be bothered, but you're like establish if it's a Dean Jackson 5-star lead. If you can, you're allowed to push through,
Oh, better than voicemail. This
right?
is what we need.
Yeah.
So
So
this is
this
the
is what
part
him
of
and I
your
were
idea
talking
that
about.
sizzles
Yeah.
Mr. Harvey Specter Maker.
Yeah. So this is where I think so this is what him I kind of the point I ended up making to him was he was looking at like bringing all this in. I was like, one, your first focus should be pushing or creating systems to start that like the North Star is it gives someone like you more time with your clients. Like you should be looking at doing everything that takes away from you having time with your clients because that's still the main thing that's going to drive results is you. So like anything we can do to facilitate more of that is the best option. And then it's like, okay, then what underneath that? So like I love the talking house thing. Um, I think
Talking
that's
House is
got
cool.
legs.
And this again, I'm going to say this a lot, but the future of AI is delivering the personalities that you know and love of real people through AI.
Yeah,
So we're going to see this stuff end up getting flavored where maybe you do call the house,
yeah,
but this house talks to you like something that would fit the personality type of the ideal buyer. So maybe for like the downtown condo in the professional network, that maybe it is Harvey Specter you talk to from
yeah,
Suits, right? Maybe if you're calling an estate home that looks like it'd be for older people, it's like Fran Drescher, like the
yeah.
nanny, right?
But you could
Like
also
we're
do it
gonna
in
get kind
your
of stuff like
brand
that.
voice, right? Like, so like I actually had a call with someone and we were creating some content around them. And as we're doing it, was just like the most thoughtful, meticulous, caring, guy. Like you'd think of this as like the lovable, protective father from a sitcom that everybody loves and wants around, and he gives everyone a warm feeling. I had an interview with a guy like that. And so like you could train it to give off that type of feeling in the conversation. So like I want you like your goal is to have people walking away with that type of like warm feeling.
Yes. And
And
that's why I
that's
think you need to have the robots do the robot stuff and have
yeah,
the humans do the human stuff and have them ride together. I think that that's going to be the
yeah,
most effective way. And for the people that think that they're not going to use this, like you're in trouble.
yeah. Well,
And
that's
for
what
the
I'm
people
looking
that
for
think they're going to
simple ways
just use
to start.
this, I think that you're overestimating
Yeah,
what, and you're probably missing one element, and that element is people move the money.
yeah.
But if you are the equivalent of voicemail, yeah, this is a real threat for
So
you.
the voicemail one though, like that has a lot of
Mm.
potential because that's such an easy win for people,
Yep.
right? Like it's that,
But there's been a long time criticism that some of the best qualities of some realtors in the marketplace is that they could actually get a real estate license. Like that's their best quality.
yeah.
And that's those are the people that this is a real threat to.
Well, I think every industry right now, and I we could debate whether it's the bottom 20, bottom 50, bottom 60%. Those are the ones in trouble from AI in almost every industry,
I would agree.
right? Like using even copywriters, that seems like such an easy one to replace. It can replace probably the bottom 70% of copywriters, but you can't, but like the one that I'm looking at now, and this is someone else had this point, and I mean, it's possible it was you, and I'm just misremembering. But it was with AI, if you're using it perfectly for stuff like copy, the 10-80-10 rule, which is you input the first 10%, have it do the next 80%, and then you come on with the last 10% again.
There's a
Like,
couple of things that are kind of streaming here. Like, so first off, what you're talking about right now is called the human in the loop.
yeah,
Okay. That is your job working with AI is to be a good human on the loop. If you
yeah,
were like when you take a look at motorcycles, they're going to be the motorcycle, but the rider is much more involved than the driver of a car. They have to move their
yeah,
body and things like that in order to make the
yeah.
motorcycle go. That's kind of what we're describing here is you need to be like a good rider.
Yeah, and
But
it still
when
needs
you
that in a
take a
lot of
look
people.
at the effect over time of like where value comes from, think about like your parents' generation. A problem solver was who they needed. Oh, that guy's a real problem solver. That's like who they were after. And then the next generation, it changed because we learned how to crowd fund solutions. So then it was a problem spotter, but spotting a very specific type of problem, which is a problem that is now solvable, even though it used to be a lockbox.
No,
So when you're thinking about that, think about the fact that there's not two people like us that have ever sat down and talked about what a great cab ride they had. And the guys that spotted that problem and saw location services and cell phones as the new technology that's going to change that dramatically, they're billionaires now. So, problem spotter. Now, when we cast forward, like you and I both have kids. So, the most valuable in the next move is very likely going to be like some type of combo of those, of this like spotting these problems and solving them almost like the old computers used to defrag. Like they'll do that with
yeah.
reality everywhere.
So you need that critical because, like, I'll give you an example. Like, I don't know if you read the one that went viral the other day of someone talking about ChatGPT ruining colleges right now.
Hmm.
Because basically, no one thinks AI is cheating, even when they put in like AI guidelines, and it's writing everything. And like, someone got into Stanford just by like ChatGPT and their application, their cover letter, everything. Every assignment they do is ChatGPT. Like basically what it said, they're just like one even did a ChatGPT essay on the like dangers of AI in that sort of exact realm and didn't see the irony of it. So there's all these interesting things, but like I'll give you an example. I was writing an article the other day. And so my process now for, like, if I'm writing an article about someone, so I was writing about this guy and how he started a business. and it's coming out soon, so you'll be able to read it on REM. Shameless plug. But he was telling me about like the origin story of like how the idea came to be, and he was working as a fire inspection engineer at an insurance company. And so it wrote a 2,000 word article, and then I came in and like rewrote it. But it gave me the first kind of outline with some the right quotes, and then I came in and did my thing. And it took like a 2 week writing process down to about 6 hours. So it was fantastic. But at different times, it made things up. It had the hallucination. So like by the third draft, AI draft, it changed it to he was a inspector at Ontario Hydro. In the entire call, Ontario Hydro was never even mentioned once. It just out of nowhere took that in and added it. And then I asked them, like, so it's a test. I was like, where did that come from? And they're like, oh, it came from the transcript that you uploaded. And I was like, show me the timestamp. And then it came back to like, you're right, that was not in there. We added that. And so it's like having people who that human in the loop side, like that's a skill of the school. Like I was reading this one teacher, what they were doing is they were having their students write an essay the way that all students were at that point. And then their job in the class was to come in and fact check it with a pen. So essentially, they had to act as the teacher and grade the accuracy and skill of the GPT.
So we're seeing some really smart ideas on both sides. So
Yeah,
one, the person that wrote very likely wrote how AI will change the competitive race to get into universities, and that was
yeah,
the like that was the irony in it that it was written by
yeah,
AI and they actually were doing that.
yeah,
And when I think about that, I think about the genius in that being like the way they got through the filter is like who would do that? You know, like the fact that they're doing this shows that they're against AI, and that's kind of what got them through.
yeah,
Whereas on when you take a look in general, this is such a metaphor. What the universities are saying is that working with ChatGPT, you will win against the general group.
yeah,
And the hardest university to get into historically has been Harvard. And when you take a look at that, and if this was the Olympics, all of a sudden you have a whole bunch of runners with robot legs. They have to change their standard to that.
yeah,
Like school was not designed for you to have a calculator in your pocket. They kept telling us that, right? But when we put a calculator in our pocket, it became a joke what they were asking us to do. And so then they need to change the standard to be like, hey, can you operate in the world? You're always going to have a calculator. And in this case, they need to say the competition for the future is going to be how well you work with this machine. Level up. Like
yeah.
these institutions need to level up. They're getting made a fool.
Yeah, like they either have to go back and make it handwritten or like written in
No,
class or embrace it.
that would be
And
exactly the
yeah,
approach that they would take. Is
yeah, that's
they do that. They've been producing graduates that are totally obsolete for a long time. And now they're getting called on it and it's hilarious.
yeah. So the guy in the article, I think he was either Harvard or Stanford or something like that he went to, and they're like, so you did all this work to get into this elite institution, and you're not taking advantage of learning there. He's like, that's not why I'm here. And they're like, what do you mean? He's like, I'm here to find a co-founder and a wife, and I've already found a co-founder. It's like, I mean, you're smart about it. But I was like, that's actually a
Well, all
really
he was
great
looking
line.
for was the filter, which is all everybody's
Yeah,
looking at when they
yeah,
see Harvard grad. Is like
yeah,
Harvard is not an incredible school; it's an incredible filter.
yeah.
It makes sure amazing people get in, and then just doesn't screw it up.
Yeah. It's pretty so like but bring it back to like the marketing side. So like what I was doing earlier this week is one of the things I wanted to talk about, like that process that we use, that like the quality of this article. I'll send it to you when I'm get approval from the client and all that. It's good. Like if you read it, you will have no idea that it was an AI written one. And because so the process was, so I interviewed this guy for 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Then after the 90 minutes, we had the transcript created, uploaded the transcript to ChatGPT and my notes. So during the call, I also take notes of what I felt was important. And I upload those notes too, because it helps like push the AI in the right direction with the transcript that I want. And then the prompt is essentially I give it the positioning that I want the article to take. So I'll be like, here's how I want like the person I'm profiling positioned, the company he's at positioned. So I'm like giving them all the elements that I want in the article. Then I have to do the first, I call it like draft point 0.5 because the first draft is when I start typing. Um, so that was like the point 0.5 draft. But then what I found is I go through different experts. So I'll bring in Donald Miller, April Dunford, managing editor of the New York Times to rate it. And then on different scales and like see how effective it is. And then I rewrite it. And it's like, I probably, the like point 0.5 draft, had to go like 15 of them. And then I got to a point where I was ready to come in and make my edits. And then I came in and rewrote it and sent it off to our editor. And so like normally, and I was even sending it to my editor, I was like, how long would this take you just like back when you were just like regular journalist to write? And she's like, that's probably a 2 or 3 week turnaround. And it was the next day in 6 hours. Like that's pretty, so we're getting there pretty close to like, so like so I was an agent. I wouldn't go that necessarily in depth with all my content, but the kind of process there that you could easily take is, especially for people who hate typing and writing, is just record yourself talking and get a transcript and then put it into ChatGPT and tell it like what do you want it to do. So like the other interesting side, but like how you want to be positioned, how you want it to come across. But then the other side that we did with like the transcript was like analyze it as like your Gary V and give us 100 content ideas and then have it pull those out and write it. And we started just feeding all this data into it and then had it categorize it. And but the big key for us was always finding the timestamp in the transcript for whatever they suggested. So we go double check it. And then we go put our stuff like the last, so like the beginning 10% and the last 10% is all me. And then the middle 80 of just like done, which I got the idea. It's actually a, Dean Jackson thing from years ago. I think he was talking about Andy Warhol and his painting process. Have you ever heard this story from Dean?
The
I don't know.
painting process, I have not.
So Andy Warhol, obviously famous painter, but he also had an output from a painting perspective that was way more than any other artist. Like the amount of pieces he produced
Hmm.
was like an insane level.
Because
And
we're
it
talking
turns out
about the
what,
guy who made like the can of soup.
yeah. So it turns out what he actually did is he basically created like an assembly line and he would start it with like his vision. He would have junior painters paint the main thing, and then he comes on and adds his touch at the end. And
Cool.
that final piece
So
was
that's the
him.
10, 80, 10 that you were talking about.
Yeah. And so it's like he just did that with people. Now we're just doing it with AI. So it's like that's the interesting one of like, so like there's another one I was listening to an interview with a lawyer who someone was interviewing him because his law firm used AI so much that they cut like 80% of their junior lawyers at the law firm. And he's like, well, I ChatGPT, like those like what 10 interns would get back to me with in a week, I get back in 20 minutes from ChatGPT. And then I just correct the like 20% of it that's wrong. And they're like, but isn't that a problem? He's like, well, no, like the junior lawyers, I'd have to correct like 30 or 40%. So he's like, I'm getting it back in like 5% of the time, and it's still better. I just got to go in and make my little adjustments. But that's the key is like too many people I find using it for their marketing, using it in their business, just take it and run with it. Like they, like, the ones when you go on social now and every post, you're like, you didn't add anything to that. You didn't add anything to that. There's nothing. There's no personal stuff to it. There's no like, anything. And it's like those just stand out now, especially to me. But um like whereas like there's so many out there like from people who are doing it well that you wouldn't know which way it is.
Hmm.
It's good.
Man,
So
I just like thinking about some of the things that you're talking about. I'm gonna work out this idea. So I like custom GPTs, and
yeah,
I want to help more people get on board with them because the more you work in a custom GPT, it feels like it feels like a baseball glove.
Yeah.
Like it just keeps getting better and better. So imagine that you keep going to ChatGPT. It does remember now from thread to thread, but it doesn't apply that all the time in predictable and consistent ways.
Yeah.
So imagine that you kind of like took what we did when we were kids, of playing Tamagotchis,
I
and you
never had.
started to
I know of
raise.
them. I never used it.
Okay, well, this was like a
Yeah.
low-level robot,
Yeah.
and the idea was is that you would have to like partake in. It was a pet that you had to feed and do other things with in
Yeah.
order to raise them. And when it was considered revolutionary because the amount of attention that it got,
Yeah.
like it was just like many other crazes. But that's what I look at when I look at these custom GPTs now. So you use the general one, and it's kind of like barking into a cave, and sometimes it echoes.
Yeah.
But then you make an individual one, and as soon as you say like I am Andrew Foliato, now it has this reference that gives it a little bit of context. And then if you were to tell it about your job, and then if
Yeah.
we were to start to do some more advanced things, like take a number of your emails and then make a voice paragraph so it could sound like you when we need it to. And then we start to add in some other reference points. And as we go, we create this cycle. So then when you work on things like an email,
Yeah.
you put in the actual final that you used. And then you ask the chat GPT to summarize that for its own use. So
Yeah.
made by AI for AI. And then you add it to your GPT, and slowly you'll be like raising a robot that will be a perfect companion.
So I have for my team a couple of custom GPTs. So the first one I use because a big challenge I've always had, and this goes back 8 years when I hired my first copywriter, is I'm very critical when people write as me. And I
Mm,
never feel like I've only ever had a handful of copywriters that it was less than 3 or 4 revisions when it comes to writing like me. And like so my team, especially people on my team who aren't copywriters, if they have to write something as me, they get very frustrated with me, which is fair because I end up just rewriting everything they do. And
yeah.
them just like, why did I even have you do it at the beginning? Um, so, but when we switch, Erin will, she's the one who's going to be editing this, so she'll see it. She especially would be like, all right, here's this like email to send out for this. And I'd be like, all right, I'll just make a little change and I rewrite the whole thing for her. I'm sure it's very frustrating. Sorry, Erin. So, what I did is I took all the writing I had done because like I have so many blog posts and articles and stuff out there, and I uploaded them all into a chat, had it analyze my style and everything. Then I said to ChatGPT, create a prompt to create a custom GPT that'll write like me. And then because that's what I found. So I used to go in and just do it directly into the GPT. Now I have ChatGPT write the prompt for to create the custom GPT, and that's made it even better. And
Hmm.
then I just take that prompt that they wrote. Sometimes I might make a few edits again, like the 10-10 part of the 10-80-10. Then I go and create the custom GPT. So now, like now we have ones just called Write Like Andrew. And now I might change 5% of what they sent me if I do it all. It's just like just put it into Write Like Andrew and it'll take the thing, write it in my voice. And what I do is like if I have new things coming out, I might just go add it in for context of like, here's more example of my writing, more example of my writing. And like that keeps making it better and better. Or I just did one that it's interesting. It's like we have the 8 week program where we like rebuild someone's marketing strategy. And I have a lot of content created around that. And we just fed it all into one. And then now, like when I do my onboarding interview, I upload the transcript into the custom GPT, train on all the stuff, and have it do the first outline of the first draft of their strategy. But it's trained on exactly how we would do it with this, like if this, then that style scenarios. And because it used to take me to build out that, even with our framework, probably 5 or 6 hours just sitting there tinkering. That is now down
Just
to about 40
noticed on my
minutes.
soundboard that you guys can probably hear Louis snoring. So if you do
I
have higher
can't actually.
quality audio, I just saw it creeping up the bars there as you were chatting.
I can't hear
I
it at
think
all.
that where you're onto is right on the button.
Yeah.
So making like I watch Formula One, and part of Formula One is the drivers progressing. They have skill
Yeah.
developments, they have their peak. Once they start to lose things like their reaction time,
Yeah.
uh, they diminish. On the other side, they're constantly improving the cars like almost no other racing. So the way that they roll out upgrade packages, this is kind of like you upgrading your GPT. Is like the car keeps getting better and
Yeah.
you're leveling up. And the funny thing is that you make the ingredients using the same tool that you use to like implement them.
Yeah.
It is an infinite game and it can feel really deep, right?
Yeah.
Like this, for people that are not partaking right now, they're like, what the hell are you guys talking about? GPT to GPT to
Yeah.
GPT.
So the next one I want to build for, and this one I'll just like give access to people because like I have the whole ACE framework for it, and it's like it. Look, we charge 8,000 for 8 weeks to help someone implement it. It's we're getting pretty close to a point where like we could set up a GPT that just asks you questions and then does it for you at like a 90% as good quality. So we're building one out that'll literally like interview them and then they come on and we'll just start like we'll just do like a small fee to access it or something like that.
And I think that there'll be more human in the loop there. I think that it
Yeah,
will be more deep analysis on a human interview. So
yeah,
you have a human interview where you let the conversation wander where it is. You hire people that are really good at these types of interviews.
yeah,
And then the way you use the transcription should be where the machines are most.
yeah,
Like that's kind of
yeah.
my
So that's
feedback
where
on
like
those things
I was
is
telling you,
be human with the human.
yeah. So I was telling you yesterday, I was like I'm starting to like look at bringing in like I think we originally started around hiring like show writers, actors, but like bringing in
Yeah.
journalists, so like great people at doing really quick depth interviews then taking that, feeding it in, taking that and, and just keep doing that. And it's like the output you can do that, and the quality when you start doing that level of input is a lot better. So like what I'm looking at is like the new version of the 8 week program, and I'm not there yet with what it is something on the idea of like we'll do the initial interview that's in depth, throw it into the thing, give you the output, but then that thing will now also go and give you all the outputs for it
Hmm.
and then we come back and review and add that lot. So it's like we do the 10 and 10 again, but it's like I have to build it all out and then figure out what the new pricing is because
Hmm.
it's a lot less labor for us, but it's also still really valuable. So I'm still figuring that side out, but it's
Well,
an
it's something that we
interesting
should
one.
definitely talk about as it
Yeah.
goes here
Yeah.
is where people could implement that, even on that like sales and marketing side. And
Yeah.
my position is that the race is going to be to have the machines do the machine stuff, but getting more human contact is going
Yeah.
to be part of the game.
That's everything. Like for me, that's what I'm looking at with like our team is like, how can we just increase the amount of time we're not behind the scenes doing stuff and increase the time like face to face helping people? Because that's ultimately what moves the needle the
Yep.
most.
Get the people on
And
stage. You
yeah,
gotcha.
and
And like the whole
and
crew has to be behind the scenes.
yeah, like I want my writers at REM spending time interviewing people, getting great information. And if it does a first draft that they then come in and fact check and rewrite better and do all that, I'm okay. Like we don't typically let it write articles at REM, but like I'm seeing a path where I think it can do it well. But with it, like I mean, they're still resistant to having it write it for them. But like there's a path there. I think if they follow the 10-80-10, where it's like you get really good content, but they've done the hard work of like the interview that
Mhm.
creates that good content for. Because at the end of the day, that's really the main thing is you've gotten this great information out of people. The actual sitting down and turning that into an article shouldn't be the 80% of the time you spend on it. Like
I
most of
agree.
the time should be spent getting the great info, figuring
Mhm.
out the angle for it, having it do the first draft, and then you come in and fine tune it, and then spend time distributing it to the most people.
Yep.
And that's where we're looking. So, like, if I were you, like going back to your content, like when we were talking about like the school content and doing stuff like that, like go interview the principals, go interview the teachers, do that hard work that no one else is doing, that person to person, and then have it crank out the content from there. And then you go and make sure people see it, right? Like
Yep.
looking for those opportunities of like one that I've been thinking of doing is like going back to all my old Over a Pint episodes
Hmm.
and having it just like pull out every lesson it can and doing stuff like that. And just like we could pull out so much because there's so many episodes with so many great takeaways. Like, I don't think we crossed, oh, we might have, I think we did cross 100 episodes. Like, we were over that. So that's like, we probably have 200 plus hours of content to go through. That was pretty good. I mean, there's the odd dud in there.
Two of them, I think.
Well,
I
through
was there twice.
no, no, the funniest one was Anthony Brown's and I's first one. We did not air it. It was that bad.
Oh
Uh,
no. Too
it
much
was
pie?
like then so basically what happened, to be honest, is the night before we were out at an event, it was an event that was for only 100 plus deal people. So it was like small scale event in a private area. We, few too many drinks going. And it's like 1 a.m. And we started joking about like, why haven't we done over a pint together yet? Like we're having a great time tonight. And we're very enthusiastic because we're several drinks in. And we're like, when could we do it before we go? But we were both leaving at the end of the event the next day. So like really the only time we could do this is before the event tomorrow. And this is already like 1 a.m. and the event starts at 8. So we're like, are we gonna do this? Like we're gonna film at 6:30 and do like an hour long at like 6:30 a.m. hour and then go. And obviously both of us were very enthusiastic. I think we both joked about it later, how we both woke up that morning hoping the other texted to cancel. But neither of us wanted to be the one to pull the trigger. So he showed
Oh,
up and we filmed it. It's like if you want to see something that has no energy and no like nothing valuable said for an hour and like the slowest nursing of a beer ever.
so funny.
It was so that one did not air. We're just like afterwards, we're like, yeah, I think we could do that better another time. Let's just not let that go anywhere.
All pain, no gain.
Yeah, that was a very, very rough one. So we did not air.
Hey, did you get that email from Miles? And
Yes, I mentioned at the beginning. So I haven't had a chance to go through it yet.
okay,
So
because
that's
that's what I'm
part of
wondering about how we should do this. Because obviously, if you and I were gonna sit together in a room and actually like give somebody notes on their website after like processing all the information, in that case, we probably wander into paid service land. But what we can do is have reactions to these websites.
yeah.
So we
Oh,
gotta just decide how we're gonna do that. Are we gonna do that
so
like live on the
Ryan,
air?
you're here. So Ryan, I'm going to give you two options because you didn't volunteer when you sent it to us for the live version. We can do
I
it
think
right
sending it to
now
us and it being a public website is a volunteer.
to a degree, but I'm gonna be fair and give them two options here. So option one, we share the screen right now and pull it up and take a look.
Ba, ba, ba.
Everyone will see it. Option two, we do it in the after
He
show
didn't
for the
even
first
finish
one.
you. He
Yeah.
said, "Do it."
All right.
You
Share
didn't
your
even finish
screen,
the
man.
question.
Share your
Okay,
screen.
hold on, hold on. I gotta
Let's
pull this
take
up.
it. So, for reference, for everyone watching, Ryan and Miles Godlotton, they emailed us their website. They followed the process we did when we rewrote Taylor's, and um, they wanted us to do it. Also, half the AI note takers just left. That's weird. Did we do something that kicked out AI note takers? We said like our attendee list dropped by and I just noticed like half the AI note takers left. That was
Weird.
weird. Yeah. Anyways, back on. So basically, they sent us their website to like give us ask for their thoughts on how they followed our process. So let's take a look.
I'm almost there.
Okay.
All right, now
So
I'm there.
Ryan, while he's pulling it up, who's your ideal client and how are you driving traffic to the website?
Are you seeing what I want you to see?
Yep.
Okay. So this is the Godlinton group, and they're out of
Yep.
Lethbridge.
Yep. You're on Chrome, right?
Yep.
Do me a favor, go to the inspect tool and me the mobile view. Do you know how to do that? So it's control click or whatever that like pulls like the right click version. Yeah, go to inspect, which is the last one.
Oh, I
And
just do
then,
the F11.
okay, that's much quicker. Okay,
Or sorry, it's
good to know.
F12. F12.
So switch to the view that shows you the mobile view. I just want to check something.
Where is it? Oh, here.
Uh, yeah. Or I'm trying to remember now where it is. It's been a while since
Oh, wait a
um,
sec. Here it is.
is that it? Yeah, there we go. Okay. Minimize the chat thing there.
Oh, hold on.
So yeah,
I don't think I can.
can you
I
move
think
it
you're
now?
married to this if you want this.
Can you close it and then pull this up?
No, because it's like part of this thing.
Okay.
If I close this side window,
Yeah, then now
all goes
close
away.
the no. Okay, close the side window. Now
Yep.
close that chat with the AI.
Oh, I didn't realize the
Now,
chat was interrupting.
yeah, okay. So first
I thought
thing
you meant this
here,
window.
yeah, just an initial first thing is when you're on the desktop view, and this is what I was worried would happen. It's now covered that you're in Lethbridge. So the initial look at your site, it's now hard to tell that you're a Lethbridge agent.
So toggle here.
Yeah, so when you go desktop view, it's not bad because you can see the Lethbridge real estate in the sign. So that lets me know that, yeah, you are Lethbridge. But most people are probably going to see this view for the first time.
Yeah, like 80% by most people.
Yeah. Yeah. So and then the other side of it is Lethbridge being in the back there from an SEO standpoint does not help you because that doesn't help tell Google that you're in Lethbridge. So like that's
So it
one.
has to be in the copy of the website,
Yeah.
not a picture of the word is just to be
Yeah,
specific.
exactly. Now, this is sometimes where it can vary based on how you're sending traffic. Like if you're not going to be putting a lot of effort and time into like ranking organically on Google, that doesn't matter as much because you're not going to rank for like Lethbridge real estate if you're not actively trying to. If this is a like confirmatory website in the sense of like I'm just using this site for when people look me up, I want to look professional, then that doesn't matter as much. They're looking us up because they already know we're here. And that's the goal of the website is to prove to them we're the right choice. You know what I mean?
Okay, so I want to expand on that. So there's several different types of websites that real estate agents use. The when most people start off, it is a confirmatory website. I am alive and in business. A lot of the time on a confirmatory website, most of the copy is written by the template,
Yeah.
right? Because that's replicated over so many websites that they sell those templates to, Google treats that as noise. So it won't rank for anything. Like you
Yeah.
would have to do, it
Would
would be
rank for
like
your
trying,
name.
yeah, it would be like trying to go in a car race, but you have one of those like pull carts with the bike.
Yeah.
Not gonna work.
But if you're not
So
trying to win that race, that's fine.
then there's the opposite of that, which is a search engine optimized website. And that site is there to get organic and off sometimes paid traffic. And organic traffic, if you were talking about airplanes, that would be like Lyft. Big wings, organic traffic will mean that
Yeah.
you don't need to have a lot of thrust or paid ads in order to make that kind of plane fly. Whereas then there's people like I was running a forced registration website, and that's just like all thrust. There's no lift. It's not search
Yeah.
engine optimized. You are funding the attention. And
Yeah.
that would be like a jet fighter in a way that it's all thrust. And if it ever lost thrust, it would fall out of the sky like a hot rock.
Yeah. Like if I went back to sales and I was doing a forced registration site to get leads, I would not make it my main website. It would be an unbranded site. Like I'd put the minimum amount of branding on it on the side just to get leads in, and my main branded site would be a lot more user friendly.
And that's the marketing approach because
Yeah.
people would associate me with forced registration and they find that irritating. So
Yeah.
therefore, my first impression to them is irritating.
Exactly. Now, what I will say this, right? I really like both your logo and the photo you guys chose for the background. I think that does a really good job of kind of showing you guys off, a little bit of personality behind it. I thought that was a really just my initial impression there. So you did a really good job. In terms of the copy there, I think you might have gone a little too far down the like pure copywriter route in the sense of like it's not clear like the truth about selling, the truth about buying. At the end of the day, it's like, okay, but like I don't know what's the lie. Like there's no initial context there
Not
to
enough
like set
context.
up
Yeah.
why do I need to know the truth about it? because like the language around the truth about selling, you have to have that initial piece before that of like where's the lie? And that could be in the traffic you're sending, right? Like maybe it's social posts that talk about some stuff about that and then let us tell you the truth about selling. Um, can you go back, Taylor, just go back to like the regular desktop view? You can take the inspect off for now. You can, yeah, this like the whole thing there. So the videos,
Okay.
where the video
Uh,
is supposed to be. I like the featured section here. That's not bad. Um,
so
let's
he's
see.
saying that if you click here, we will now you're going to go to video.
Okay, click one. So, but you're not selling the click enough, I think, with the truth about selling, right? I think you could do more there. How it could help you sell your house, home inspections for sellers, the truth. So I like the idea that you're trying to do is like we're telling you the truth. Like it's a good branding play. But like if I'm coming to your site and I don't have a lot of information about the process yet, or you guys necessarily, like there's not enough reason yet for me to say the truth about selling. Um, and maybe it's be like find out the truth about selling they don't want you to know. Like there has to be something you're kind of positioned against there. Um, and that again, it depending on the source of stuff coming in, that could be. And it could be like, learn about selling your home. Like, but I think just like that copy on that top part does need to be worked on a little bit.
Okay, so we're
And I
back on
think,
the homepage. We've talked about
yeah.
the banner, featured listings below that.
I mean, this is one where like just from a
Kind of a
testing
cool feature where
standpoint,
they go from
yeah.
bichromatic to color as you hover over them. That's
Yeah, I
fancy.
mean, just as a testing thing, and this is not something I worry too much about, I might test having that color versus not, just for like click-through rate, or like maybe one has color as a default. Just something that like one that you're trying to feature a little extra or something, just that a little, but again, that's such a nitpicky little thing, and that'd be a straight just if you want to A/B test something and see if it gets more, that'd be one you could. Um,
Then we get into the
I
um,
like the
news
photo again. Like
section.
you guys did a good job with your
What our clients are
photos.
saying.
Yeah.
The pictures are really where you're scoring big. Like you're
Yeah.
putting faces to the names. You guys are showing personality. You look
Yeah.
really approachable.
You're not
There's
back
so
to
many
back with your arms
realtors.
crossed.
Yeah, there's so many realtors that are trying to look professional. You
Yeah,
should be professional and act
yeah.
approachable. You
Plus,
know,
he
you
doesn't
want
like
people
a
to come.
finger gun. Like,
I like the scrolling
yeah,
scrolling what do they call these testimonials at the bottom? But I would really like to have some authority on these testimonials. Is this a Google 5-star review? Is this a Rank My Agent 5-star review?
is it just you copy? Like, is it just they
Yeah,
emailed you a
so putting
review?
in anything here that would kind of
Yeah,
denote that, like that would probably help you out
yeah,
because then
like,
they can see where it's verified.
yeah, add in a little extra around that, or like a link to the, like, maybe what you could, and again, this is a testing thing of like, you take the most important line from it and then be like read the full review and they can then go to read the full one elsewhere type of thing, and think about from the perspective of like if you're just going to share a snippet of it, what is the part from it that you want to make sure people know? So like for example that one there from David C, um two investment properties and a management contract in, I'm all in on this team, click here to read the full review, right? Like something like that. Just that gives that a little extra punch, I think. And you're just making sure they see, because like right now, that one from Abby, that's a long review that someone scrolling. I don't know that they would want to sit and like read that big block of text. So take out the part you think is the most impactful with followed by a read it all here.
Hmm.
Mhm. And
Okay,
then
so
here,
up top, you were talking about the truth about buying and selling, and that was
yeah,
clever. And down here, we see clear. And that's like the spectrum in marketing. You could be clever or you could be clear. And most people will say it's better to be clear than clever. But if you could do both, that's great.
yeah. And this is like maybe where I'd actually bring in the truth concept instead, is at the top, be clear. Down here, add that little bit of clever, a little bit of that brand you're talking about. Because here you also have the room then to introduce the concept a little bit more of like being the truth teller in Lethbridge. Um, Whereas like at the beginning, at the top, it's more like they just need to know what it's talking about, as opposed to what that is. And like little things here again, this isn't going to be one that changes a lot for you. List with us. I'm not a big fan of using that language, because like that's not how most consumers also like default to think. They think sell my home with, as opposed to
Mhm.
list with us. And so I might switch to um, sell your home with us. Get your home sold. Like
Sell your
language that's
home,
about them.
sell your
Yeah.
home, sell your house, or sell your property.
Like one thing that I would do, Ryan, as like an AI thing is feed this page back into ChatGPT and have Donald Miller rate the site out of 10
Woo.
because he does the story brand. And one thing right now is like list with us is about you. You want it to be about the client. Our home valuation is instant too. Great. So like I would put that under home eval, instant home eval. And like they know they're going to get it right away. And so it's like
It,
adding those extra pieces there can drive a little bit.
there's a tool called Awesome Screen Recorder, and you
Yeah.
can do that to basically catch your whole website from top to bottom. Then you fire that into ChatGPT so that it can give you that
Yeah.
response. You want it to act as Donald Miller. He's the author of StoryBrand. And if
Right.
you ever listen to his podcast, he actually does these website reviews. And basically, if you were to summarize what he says, is he looks at people's website and says, "Yeah, so what?"
Yeah.
And the reason is because most people don't understand that their website is for other people and about them, where people make a website that's like for them and about them.
Yeah.
So looking at it from the client's eyes is really where you're coming from, Andrew, and saying like, sell my property or sell my home. Um, uh, and that could be like as clear as day on all of these, where it
Yeah.
comes into like, are you shopping secret properties?
Yeah. You
That
nailed the
could,
design though. I do will say this. So far, every part of the website from a design perspective, I think you guys have nailed it.
I
I
would
think
agree.
there's just a little bit of, I think from there, there's still some more fun. Like, again, good. Like this photo shoot you guys did, your photographer did a great job.
Hmm.
Um, Looks good. Um, yeah. Who did art? I haven't heard of that company. I'll have to look them up. I did a good job. Let me know what their pricing is in the chat. I'm curious. Yeah, I think they actually did a fantastic job overall on the site. Yeah, I think like your next chapter start here. It's a nice kind of tagline. I might make that like sub headline, and the main one again, not be, just being very clear about being Lethbridge Realtors, that type of idea. Um, and then your next chapter starts here can be like the part under, but maybe instead of the next chapter starts here, look for a way to introduce the truth teller side of it. 1,000-ish a month to your contract. There must be more than just the website then that you're getting. Um, but yeah, miles, yeah, it's good. Good,
Got the
good,
dogs in
good.
there. I like the
Yeah,
about page.
yeah. Like the
It's
only
looking
thing I
very
might
good.
add in here is
Is
like at the
there
bottom.
anywhere that you reference what your relationship is? Because like as somebody who's never visited your website, I can kind of guess. But I'm just wondering if that was intentional.
Just the videos. Yeah, so I'd make sure that there's a little bit of that father-son angle in there because like that does
Well, I
play a
think a lot of
role.
people when they see the match name, the last names, they assume father and son, right?
Yeah,
And that like talking about that, like how you've been helping people in Lethbridge for generations. That's a good play.
yeah, yeah. And then yeah, just reading
And you
over
can
it.
also appeal to people that are from both generations.
Yeah. But like similar to this page, like think about the about Godlot and Real Estate Group. It's a little bit about them getting to know you. It's a lot about getting them to trust you.
Hmm.
So right now it does a great job of having them get to know you a little bit. We want it to like tell the story still from the client's angle of a story around like how you got to where you are today off the back of your clients kind of like from like I would kind of take this angle of like my father has been doing this for so long, and maybe I'd even say this in your voice, and then say like, we've been building this, and I also saw some opportunities here to help our clients. And it's like almost like there was this gap, and we created this service and we did this because we were compelled to. And then you kind of again tell now you get into your experience a little bit, but you keep tying it back to like this need you guys had to um, push to your clients. But yeah, like I think the main one that I was looking there, I think Donald Miller would be kind of your best bet for that review. And the two routes I would go with that, one, just ChatGPT, say Donald Miller, and see how that does and how you feel about that. Second option, there's a free and a paid version of it. He has a site called storybrand.ai. I don't know how much he charges, I'll be very honest. There's a free trial that I tried one time, and it was pretty good. But basically, it like dumbs down his story brand process and walks you through it step by step and can rewrite it all for you. So I don't know if that is going to be exponentially better than you just putting that into ChatGPT. I don't have enough experience with that, but I would start with ChatGPT if you already use it. Then if you're still not quite happy,
DonaldMiller.ai, that's the future,
storybrand.ai.
man. Or
Yeah.
the storybrand.ai where you get like interactive mentors through like a
Yeah.
light version, so
Yeah.
you don't have to actually pay for their time. That's
Yeah.
I think that's definitely the
It's
future.
win-win, right? Like you
Yeah.
get access
We
to
like
because like they uploaded everything about them.
Yep. And if you want to send your website over, if you guys want us to do this, Ryan said he got great value from this. We really appreciate it. And we will give you those initial reactions. I love the idea that you're willing to share that online. And also, like, we have people that may refer to Lethbridge that are watching. So if you also have a website that you want us to review, that you put work into, we do not want to review your templated crap websites, but if you actually have one that you've put some heart and soul into, or
Yeah.
cash, then we'll hit it. We are now at 1 o'clock, so we're gonna get out of here.
Yep.
But you guys can stay around and ask a couple of questions if you want to, and we're gonna see you next week. So
Awesome.
thank you for joining us. This is the Leads Are Shit. He's Andrew. I'm Taylor. And we're out of here.
And make sure you come live next week so you can actually come to the after show, which is starting right now.